Hello, everybody. Something half good has happened in the UK for once. There is this dreadful bill going through Parliament at the moment, which is colloquially known as the Assisted Dying Bill or Assisted Killing Bill. Its full name is actually the Terminally Ill Adults End of Life Bill, although it's actually now going to include, under some circumstances, 16 and 17-year-olds, and not just terminally ill people, but anorexics and people with Down syndrome, and maybe people who have got mild mental illnesses. As we saw in Canada, it was brought in for being terminally ill adults, but then the remit has widened and widened and widened. So now it includes 100 times or more in numbers of people are eligible to be killed by the state, by the health services in Canada than were originally intentioned by the people who brought the bill in, or that's what they said the intention was. Exactly the same thing has already happened in the UK during the committee stage of this bill as it passes through Parliament. The remit has been widened, the safeguards have been stripped. It was supposedly only going to allow something like this to happen with the permission of two High Court judges. That's been scrapped in favor of a panel of non-legal people who are not even involved in medical care. So it is a horrendous bill, and it will, as I've said before, completely change the relationship between the state and citizens, between doctors and patients, because doctors will be required to offer this to people who they consider are terminally ill, whatever that means. Terminally ill might mean you die in 2 weeks' time, or it might mean 2 years' time. And sometimes assessments of when someone is going to come to the end of their life are way, way off the reality of actually what happens in a certain situation. But the good news is that this was due to come before Parliament again on Friday, the 25th of April, which is just 3 days after Parliament opens after the Easter recess on Tuesday, the 22nd of April. So there would have been very, very little time for MPs to have a look at this and consider everything. It goes to Parliament for the report stage, where MPs can suggest other amendments in addition to the amendments that were made to the bill in the committee stage, and then it goes straight to the third vote, the third reading and the third vote. Now, that can happen on the same day. It can take 2 or 3 days to happen. But, they're trying to rush this through Parliament, or they were. But now they've said that there's going to be a 3-week delay. So it's not coming before Parliament again for the report stage and the third reading on the 25th of April. That's been delayed by 3 weeks to the 16th of May. Now, I think the only reason they would have done this is because they're not sure of having the numbers in order to get this bill through. Because in the second reading, the bill was voted through that it could continue its journey through Parliament by 325 to 275. So they had a majority of 50 MPs, including a majority of Labour, Lib Dem and Reform MPs. But some of them may have changed their minds given what's happened to the bill in the committee stage. Now, it would only take 26 MPs to change their minds, 26 MPs who voted for it in the second reading. If they change their minds and vote against it in the third reading, then the bill is killed and we will not have euthanasia in England and Wales. And of course, that is the right thing. We should not have euthanasia, assisted killing, assisted suicide, whatever you like to call it, in the UK. It basically gives people the right to murder. That's what it essentially is, on the basis that someone is terminally ill or whatever criteria that is widened to include. So this is looking good. It's looking like they don't have the numbers to vote this through in the third reading, which means that will be the end of the bill, quite rightly so. They've already made a concession before that. In March, Kim Leadbeater, she's the person who brought this bill in. Look at her. I mean, doesn't look like somebody you want to meet on a dark night. But she's the one who brought the bill into Parliament, the MP for Batley and Spen. But she already made a concession in March that it would not come into force in law until 2029. Originally, it was supposed to be 2027. They pushed that back to 2029. So even if it is voted through, there will be another general election before it comes into the force of law. And obviously, if I got into Parliament with Heritage Party MPs, we would repeal it on day one or as soon as possible afterwards. Unfortunately, in the UK, we can't just make executive orders. You have to go through a parliamentary process to introduce an act of Parliament. That takes time, and then it has to go through the first reading, the second reading, the committee stage, the report stage, the third reading, and then go to the Lords, and so on. And they do the same thing there. So it takes time, but we will initiate the act or acting on the first day in order to get this bill overturned if we could get into Parliament and implement our socially conservative policies. Obviously, we are the only UK-wide socially conservative party in the Heritage Party. But she made that concession already. Now she's pushed it back by 3 weeks. And the language is, oh, we want to give MPs more time to consider the bill. Whereas a few months ago, they had so much hubris, they were trying to push this through very, very quickly without giving anybody a proper chance to consider this and discuss it and look at it and then maybe object to it. Now they realize there has been a huge amount of attention on this by us in the Heritage Party, our friends in other places, in UK Medical Freedom Alliance and other groups are very much acting to raise awareness of this and how it will change the nature of our nation if this comes through in a very, very bad way. And I think they have been shocked by the level of scrutiny on this because they actually live in a world where they think that this is, I don't know, they think that this is a good thing to actually allow people to be killed. And they don't understand that there are people who don't agree with them, but actually the majority of people oppose this horrendous misanthropic progressive agenda that they're pushing through Parliament. So this is semi-good news, and they might actually drop it if they don't have the numbers. I wouldn't be surprised if they do drop it. We'll see, because if it's clear that they will get this will be defeated in Parliament, I think they'll drop it. But if it's on the borderline, which it appears to be now, they might push it back and push it back. But then it's got to go through all of the stages in Parliament in this year's parliamentary session before Parliament is prorogued in the autumn before the next King's speech. So if it gets pushed further and further away in time, then it becomes less and less likely to become law. And then that's it for this Parliament. So let's hope that happens. Good things, I hope, are underfoot to kill this dreadful bill. Thanks for listening, everyone, and God bless you all.